in the largest rainforest on Earth. There are forces that rarely allow themselves to be seen and almost never allow themselves to be understood. Beneath a ceiling of vapor and ancient mist, predators perfected by millions of years of evolution move through the jungle without sound, shadow, or warning. Here, silence is not the absence of noise, but a biological strategy. In the Amazon, silence kills efficiently. Every drop of humidity, every particle of heat, every trembling leaf becomes part of an invisible network that serpents learn to read like a language older than the forest itself. Their bodies are alive with sensors, tuned to vibrations, temperature, chemistry, and fear. Their venom is not an accident of nature, but a coded message written across epochs. A single drop of it holds the memory of droughts, floods, migrations, collapses, rebirths, and the eternal competition for survival. To follow an Amazonian snake is to follow the logic of evolution stripped to its core. The forest does not waste energy. It does not reward weakness. It sculpts predators with precision, and serpents became its quietest masterpiece. These creatures do not dominate by force alone. They dominate because they mastered the art of not being noticed. In this biome, where sunlight barely touches the soil and life fights for every breath, venom became a perfect solution in the arms race for survival. Fast, efficient chemical. A weapon that ends conflict before it begins. But venom is only half the story. The Amazon itself is the engine behind their power. The constant heat accelerates biological reactions. The relentless humidity sharpens chemical cues. Competition pushes species into extreme specialization. Every advantage becomes essential. Every flaw becomes fatal. So the forest selects. It refines. It shapes serpents into instruments of precision capable of thriving where most animals would not last a single night. Under the water, a shadow passes. A massive anaconda glides through the dark, its movement almost too slow to detect. In the canopy above, a green viper dissolves into leaves, its eyes waiting for the twitch of a passing life. On the forest floor, the legendary jararaca stands motionless, reading the heartbeat of the jungle through soil and air. They do not chase. They do not waste. They calculate. They wait for the exact moment when opportunity aligns with silence. The Amazon forged them this way. Perfect hunters designed for a world that rewards precision more than strength. And to understand these silent predators, we must first understand the living machine that sculpted them. The rainforest is not just an ecosystem. It is an empire of life, pressure, and adaptation. And in this empire, serpents are both its guardians and its consequence. For to understand the silent predators of the Amazon, we must first understand the jungle that shaped them. The Amazon is not just a forest. It is a planetary engine, a biological empire stretching across 9 nations, pulsing with rivers of vapor that rise from treetops and drift across the sky like invisible arteries, feeding half a continent. Scientists call them flying rivers because that is what they are. Massive currents of moisture lifted by millions of leaves, traveling thousands of kilometers before falling as rain far beyond the rainforest itself. This single mechanism stabilizes weather patterns, cools oceans, builds storms, and feeds ecosystems that have never seen an Amazonian tree. When you stand in the jungle, surrounded by the thick, humid breath of the canopy, you are standing inside one of the lungs of the planet. Yet the true power of the Amazon does not lie in its scale, but in its density. A single hectare can hold more species than some entire countries. Every square meter is contested. Every niche is occupied. Every branch, every layer of light, every pocket of shadow is a battlefield of adaptation. This pressure creates life forms that exist nowhere else. Plants with chemical defenses that would dissolve human skin. Insects that mimic leaves, bark, fungus, even other insects. Mammals that evolved to live in complete darkness or never touch the ground. But among all the creatures sculpted by this intense competition, serpents stand out as the purest expression of evolutionary refinement. The Amazon does not allow weakness to survive. Predators here cannot rely on speed alone, because the understory is tight and labyrinthine. They cannot rely on brute strength, because energy is too precious to waste. The environment demands silence, efficiency, precision, and specialization. So snakes became exactly that. They learned to hunt without being seen and defend themselves without being heard. They became masters of ambush, capable of waiting hours, days, or weeks for a single perfect opportunity. They developed venoms engineered by natural selection to exploit specific weaknesses in the animals they prey upon. Hemotoxins that rupture cells and unravel tissue. Cytotoxins that melt deep layers of muscle. Anticoagulants that turn a heartbeat into a threat. Enzymes so advanced they can disable the immune system before the body even understands it is under attack. Their bodies became flexible instruments of control. They can coil without sound, measure distance without eyes, and sense temperature with organs, so refined they can detect a warm breath passing centimeters away. This is why the Amazon creates so many specialized predators. Every organism here is shaped by pressure, constraint, and opportunity. The more competitive the environment, the deeper evolution must carve its masterpieces. Snakes are those masterpieces. Their survival depends not on overpowering prey, but on outthinking it, outweighting it, outsensing it. In a forest where millions of species compete for food, space, and life, the serpent's body is a design optimized for patience, subtlety, and dominance. They are not at the top of the food chain by force. They are at the top because they master the laws of efficiency. In the jungle, efficiency is power, and nowhere on Earth is this law more evident than here. To understand why the Amazon produces so many deadly snakes, we must understand the jungle's internal logic. This biome operates on extremes. Intense rainfall followed by intense heat. Long dry periods followed by floods that swallow entire landscapes. Every shift forces animals to adapt rapidly or vanish. Snakes became experts at exploiting these fluctuations. When floods come, arboreal vipers move into the canopy where prey concentrates. When the dry season compresses life towards shrinking water sources, ground-dwelling species take advantage of predictable paths carved by thirsty animals. The forest is dynamic, and snakes evolve to read its changes with a level of sensitivity unmatched by most predators. This constant instability also accelerates evolutionary diversity. In many regions of the world, environmental conditions remain stable for long periods, slowing the development of new traits. But in the Amazon, nothing stays the same for long. Microclimates shift daily. Light patterns change hour to hour. The soil itself transforms with every storm. Evolution responds by generating variation at an extraordinary rate. This is why the Amazon holds more snake species than many countries have mammals. The rainforest is essentially a vast laboratory of natural selection, running millions of experiments simultaneously. For predators, this means intense specialization becomes an advantage. One species may evolve venom that works perfectly on amphibians abundant in flooded forests. Another may develop camouflage tuned to dappled green light in the canopy. Another may adopt a lifestyle built entirely around silent ambush at the forest floor. Each adaptation fills a niche in a system where nothing is wasted and everything is contested. But specialization also has a deeper implication. It makes these snakes extraordinarily efficient at what they do. Their venom is not universally deadly. It is specifically deadly, tailored to the physiology of the creatures they evolved alongside. This is why many Amazonian snakes are far more dangerous to small forest animals than to large mammals. Their venom evolved for their ecosystem, not for humans. Yet because human biology shares universal systems of blood, muscle, and nerve conduction, these venoms can become catastrophic when injected into a person. The Amazon shapes predators by forcing them to refine strategies until they approach biological perfection. Whether constrictor or viper, arboreal or aquatic, each serpent carries a different philosophy of survival. Constrictors thrive on control. Vipers thrive on chemistry. Arboreal species thrive on invisibility. Aquatic giants thrive on patience and leverage. What unites them is the biome that forged them. A rainforest that breathes moisture into the sky, circulates life through its waterways, and pushes every organism toward the limits of adaptation. The Amazon is not chaotic. It is precise. It builds predators according to its own logic, and its snakes are among the most refined results of that logic ever produced by nature. In the Amazon, Venom is not merely a weapon. It is the result of millions of years of biochemical refinement shaped by heat, humidity, and relentless competition. In this tropical engine, every droplet of moisture becomes a catalyst that accelerates chemical reactions inside the bodies of venomous snakes. The warm, saturated air keeps metabolic processes running at high efficiency, allowing venom glands to produce complex toxins at rates that would be impossible in cooler, drier environments. Venom here is alive in a way that reflects the forest itself. Hidden within the skull of an Amazonian viper are glands constructed like miniature laboratories. Each chamber produces specific molecular compounds designed to dismantle life at astonishing speed. Solenoglyphous fangs, hinged like precision instruments, fold backward when the mouth closes and swing forward with surgical accuracy when the strike begins. A single motion delivers not just toxins, but a complete biochemical strategy. Hemotoxic venoms, common among Amazonian vipers, target the circulatory system with brutal efficiency. They tear through blood vessels, rupture cell membranes, and dismantle tissue architecture. The result is catastrophic internal damage that unfolds rapidly and leaves prey unable to flee. In a dense forest where visibility is limited and pursuit is costly, immobilizing prey instantly is not optional. It is essential. Cytotoxic venoms go deeper, attacking the structural components of muscle and skin. They break down proteins that hold tissue together, creating cascading waves of destruction. For a predator hiding in darkness, this mechanism prevents escape even from animals capable of short bursts of speed. And then there are the rare but formidable neurotoxins, quieter and more sophisticated. They disrupt communication between nerves and muscles, shutting down movement or respiration with minimal struggle. These toxins act like invisible threads that sever the connection between thought and motion. The Amazon provides the conditions for such complexity. A humid biome with an abundance of amphibians, mammals, birds, and reptiles offers an endless array of physiological targets. Over generations, snakes refine their venom compositions to exploit the weaknesses of the species they encounter most often. Prey influences venom. Venom influences predators. Predators influence evolution. It is a closed loop of biological negotiation. A snake that hunts frogs may evolve peptides, tuned to amphibian cardiovascular systems. A snake that hunts rodents may refine anticoagulant properties. A species that relies on arboreal ambush may develop venom with rapid immobilization to prevent prey from escaping into the branches. Some Amazonian snakes even carry multiple venom effects within a single bite, combining hemotoxic and anticoagulant properties to maximize efficiency. The biome rewards complexity because complexity ensures survival. In this environment, venom becomes more than chemistry. It becomes communication. It tells the forest that a struggle has ended. It tells scavengers that a meal is coming. It tells predators that energy has been conserved. And it tells evolution that the design works. Venom is the rainforest speaking through its predators, and every molecule of it is written in a language shaped by shadows, heat, water, and time. In the Amazon, danger does not announce itself. It waits, coiled beneath leaves, balanced on a branch, dissolved into shadows that stretch across the forest floor. Among all the predators shaped by this biome, the vipers stand as the most silent, the most specialized, and the most unforgiving. Their mastery is not in pursuit, but in invisibility. The forest hides them, and they hide within the forest, becoming indistinguishable from the very patterns that surround them. The Amazonian lancehead, Bothrops atrox, is the embodiment of this design. It is responsible for more human encounters than any other snake in the region, not because it seeks conflict, but because it excels at disappearing. Its body absorbs light in a way that breaks its outline. Its colors mirror soil, bark, and fallen leaves. When it remains still, it ceases to exist to the untrained eye. But its venom ensures that anything that steps too close pays the price. Hemotoxic, aggressive, and fast-acting, the venom of the atrox dismantles tissue with ruthless precision. It breaks down blood vessels, interferes with clotting, and creates massive internal disruption. For small animals, the effects are nearly instantaneous. For larger ones, the process is catastrophic. and all of it unfolds while the snake remains motionless, conserving energy in a biome where every breath is part of a survival calculation. Above the forest floor, another predator rules a different kingdom. Bothrops bilineatus, the green jararaca, is an arboreal hunter that transforms itself into part of the canopy. Its green scales are not merely camouflage. They are a sensory adaptation that allows it to blend into layers of filtered light. The canopy is unstable, vibrating with insects, birds, primates, and branches shifting under rainfall and wind. Yet the bilineatus remains perfectly balanced, using its tail as an anchor, its body as a tension line, and its senses as guides. It strikes with remarkable accuracy, often capturing birds and tree-dwelling mammals before they even register movement. The forest floor rewards stillness, but the canopy rewards timing. The green jararaca excels at both. Then there is the suracucu, Lachesis muta, the largest viper in the Americas and one of the most imposing snakes on Earth. Its presence is mythic.
Unlike many vipers, it does not rely solely on short strikes, but has a powerful body capable of delivering devastating force. Its venom combines hemotoxic and neurotoxic effects, creating a reaction that overwhelms prey quickly. Its size allows it to cover territory, hold ground, and deliver a strike that feels less like an attack and more like a biological event. The suracucu's legend among forest inhabitants is not superstition. It is memory embedded in generations of experience. All these vipers share one evolutionary trait that sets them apart: thermal sensing. Inside their loreal pits are organs so sensitive they can detect the heat signature of a small mammal hidden under leaves or perched on a branch. These sensors turn darkness into vision. They allow the snakes to interpret the world not through light, but through temperature. In a rainforest, where nights stretch long and dense, this becomes an unrivaled advantage. Hunting here is a dialogue between predator and environment. Vipers do not chase, they measure. They wait for the forest to reveal the exact moment when a heartbeat passes close enough that the strike becomes inevitable. And when the strike comes, it is explosive, a blur of muscle, force, and chemistry designed to end conflict instantly. Each species has refined its strike through generations of selective pressure. The timing, the angle, the force, the venom load, all calibrated by the unforgiving demands of the Amazon. Their aggression is not cruelty, it is efficiency. Their venom is not malice, it is survival. The Amazon forged them into specialists capable of dominating their respective layers of the forest. They are predators sculpted by silence, sharpened by patience, and perfected by evolution. In a biome of endless noise, their greatest power is the ability to hunt without making a sound. In the Amazon, silence has many forms. In the canopy, it hides like filtered light. On the forest floor, it coils beneath roots and fallen leaves. But beneath the surface of dark, slow-moving waters, silence becomes something else entirely. It becomes a kingdom of suspended motion, of currents that shift without sound, of predators that move like living shadows. This is the realm of the anaconda, the apex architect of underwater stillness. The green anaconda, Unex marinus, is the largest and heaviest snake in the Americas, a creature whose mass alone bends the physics of the flooded forest. While vipers dominate the land through precision strikes and biochemical warfare, the anaconda rules through control. Its weapon is not venom, but the absolute mastery of leverage, patience, and the physics of pressure. In these waters, every ripple matters. Fish, caimans, birds, capybaras, and tapirs disturb the surface in patterns that the anaconda reads with flawless accuracy. Its body is a chain of densely packed muscles that act like sensors, interpreting vibrations from any animal that dares to enter its territory. The snake does not need to see clearly in the murky water. It feels the world through water itself. The eyes and nostrils of the anaconda sit at the top of the skull, allowing it to remain almost fully submerged. Only 2 points break the surface, 2 points the size of coins. Everything else disappears beneath the dark mirror of the flooded forest. When the snake remains still, it becomes indistinguishable from a floating trunk. The deception is perfect because the forest designed it that way. The anaconda's body carries patterns that blend with reeds, algae, and drifting shadows. In a biome where predators must conserve every calorie, invisibility is not an option. It is a requirement. Constriction is a form of control unique to giants like the anaconda. It does not suffocate prey. It stops circulation. It prevents blood from moving through the body. Muscles tighten in waves, each calculation based on resistance, each adjustment a response to shifting pressure. The prey's heartbeat accelerates, then collapses. The process is efficient, quiet, and terrifyingly fast for an animal of such size. Evolution built the anaconda's muscles not only for strength, but for precision. They contract with an intelligence that seems almost unnatural, adjusting pressure based on the prey's movements. This feedback system ensures that no energy is wasted. The snake is not strangling, it is measuring, it is solving a problem. The underwater world provides a perfect arena for these biological strategies. The buoyancy of water reduces the snake's energy expenditure, allowing it to grow larger than almost any other serpent on Earth. The cold, dark channels of the Amazon slow prey movement. Heavy vegetation provides natural ambush points, and seasonal floods expand the hunting grounds into forests transformed into temporary lakes. In these flooded landscapes, the anaconda becomes nearly unstoppable. It can wait motionless for hours, preserved in the water like a suspended root. It does not need speed. It does not need venom. It needs only one mistake from any creature that enters its domain. And in a forest where countless animals approach the water's edge to drink, swim, cross, or feed, that mistake eventually comes. The anaconda's power is not the violence of the kill. It is the flawless timing that precedes it. It is the discipline of stillness, the command of silence, and the ability to control an entire ecosystem from beneath the surface. The vipers may rule the shadows of the forest floor, but the anaconda governs the submerged world with an authority that no predator can match. The anaconda's dominance is not limited to strength, but to an evolutionary philosophy that prioritizes certainty over risk. Every movement has purpose, every pause has meaning. In the underwater world of the Amazon, energy is currency, and the anaconda spends it with extreme care. Its hunting strategy embodies the idea that patience is more powerful than force. The snake positions itself along submerged pathways where animals frequently cross. It waits beneath branches where birds land to drink. It rests near the edges of floating vegetation where capybaras graze and caimans patrol. These positions are chosen with an almost architectural understanding of the environment. The flooded forest is a maze, and the anaconda knows every corridor. Adaptations make this mastery possible. Its lungs extend far down the body, enabling prolonged submersion with minimal movement. Its skin resists fungal growth and abrasion, essential for navigating debris-filled waters. Its metabolism slows dramatically during inactivity, allowing the snake to endure long periods between meals. These traits make the anaconda not simply a predator, but a structural component of the aquatic ecosystem. When it moves, it alters the behavior of fish, birds, and mammals. When it hunts, it redistributes energy through the food web. When it reproduces, it invests in offspring that emerge large, strong, and capable of survival from birth. The power of the anaconda's ambush does not lie in speed, but in the elimination of escape routes. Once the snake launches its attack, water becomes an ally. The prey's ability to struggle is reduced. Direction becomes confusing. Limbs lose traction. Panic becomes a trap. The coils wrap around the animal with a precision that reflects millions of years of refinement. The moment the snake applies pressure, the battle is already decided. This method is so efficient that even large mammals fall victim without the anaconda expending excessive energy. And because the snake digests slowly, its impact on the ecosystem is both episodic and profound. Many animals in the flooded forest alter their routines to avoid areas where anacondas are known to hunt. During breeding seasons, The presence of a single large female can shape territorial patterns for kilometers. The anaconda's evolutionary success also lies in its ability to merge with the landscape. During dry seasons, when water retreats, the snake shifts strategies. It retreats into deeper channels or remains hidden beneath roots and fallen logs. These periods are spent conserving energy, shedding old skin, healing wounds, and preparing for the explosive abundance that returns with the rains. When the floods come again, the anaconda rises with them, reclaiming its underwater empire. The cycle repeats with a rhythm as old as the forest itself. While vipers carve their legacy through chemistry, the anaconda builds its rule through environment, mass, and the impeccable use of silence. In the flooded jungles of the Amazon, it is not the loudest predator that prevails. It is the one that moves least, waits longest, and attacks only when the forest itself is ready to lend its strength. In the Amazon, survival depends on the ability to read a world that never stops moving. Rain falls in sheets so dense they blur the shapes of animals. Wind slides through branches, shifting shadows across the forest floor. Countless creatures move simultaneously, creating an orchestra of vibrations, chemical traces, and thermal signatures. For most animals, this chaos is overwhelming. For snakes, it is a language. Their senses are not simply sharper than those of other predators. They are tuned to interpret the forest's hidden signals with a precision that feels engineered. Each species uses a different combination of sensory tools, but all rely on the rainforest's humidity, heat, and density to amplify the information flowing through their environment. On the ground, vibrations travel through soaked soil like pulses through a living drum. The earth is not silent. It carries the footsteps of rodents, the scratching of lizards, the impact of falling fruit, and the shifting weight of predators. Snakes feel these vibrations through their jaws, ribs, and musculature, transforming the forest floor into a massive sensory interface. This allows them to detect animals long before they are visible. It also teaches them the difference between prey and threat without relying on sight. The Amazon is dark, and visibility rarely offers advantages. But sound, vibration, and chemical cues unveil what the eyes cannot see. Chemical sensing is another pillar of their perceptual world. The split tongue collects particles from the air and soil, delivering them to the Jacobson's organ, a structure so sensitive it can differentiate species, genders, emotional states, and even reproductive conditions. In a humid biome, these chemical particles adhere to surfaces more easily and linger longer in the air, giving snakes extended access to information. This means a snake can follow a prey trail that is hours old or avoid a predator that has already left the area. It can locate a mate without calling, glowing, or exposing itself. This is survival through invisibility. Thermal sensing elevates these abilities to another level. Vipers possess heat-detecting pits capable of reading infrared signatures in total darkness. A mouse passing behind a log still generates enough thermal contrast for the snake to see it. Even subtle temperature shifts caused by breathing, heartbeat, or muscle tension become detectable. In a rainforest where night hunting dominates and visual cues disappear, this sensory system becomes an evolutionary superpower. While mammals rely on vision to define the world, snakes rely on thermal geometry. They feel the shape of life. The Amazon amplifies all these senses. The saturated air slows the dissipation of chemical particles, making them easier to track. The dense soil carries vibrations farther. The constant heat keeps thermal signals clear. Every environmental feature cooperates with the snake's sensory toolkit, enhancing their ability to locate prey while remaining unseen. These sensory adaptations are not just tools, but strategies. They allow snakes to expend minimal energy by avoiding unnecessary movement. They also enable them to position themselves with absolute precision, ensuring that ambushes succeed and risks remain minimal. To survive in the Amazon, an animal must read the invisible. Snakes mastered this act to such a degree that their presence often goes unnoticed even by creatures standing mere centimeters away. Their senses are not reactive, they are predictive. They tell the snake when to move, when to wait, and when the jungle itself is shifting. This is the science hidden beneath the silence of the rainforest. The Amazon sensory landscape is a system of signals layered across sound, vibration, heat, chemical traces, and movement. Snakes operate at the intersection of all these cues, processing the environment with a sophistication unmatched by most predators. Their sensory world is not linear, it is woven. A vibration from the soil is paired with a chemical trace carried by humid air. A thermal signature aligns with a faint rustle hidden beneath leaves. Each signal reinforces another until the snake receives a complete picture of the animal nearby. This multisensory integration is what allows Amazonian snakes to ambush with near-perfect accuracy. They are not guessing. They are solving the forest like a mathematical equation. The internal auditory system plays a subtle but essential role. Snakes do not hear in the human sense. They feel sound. Their bones conduct vibrations, translating low-frequency signals into information about distance, size, and direction. This sensory channel becomes crucial during encounters with large animals. A snake can detect an approaching tapir minutes before it arrives. It can sense the low tremors of a jaguar's steps. Even the shifting of roots as rainwater changes soil density becomes part of the sensory map. The rainforest exaggerates these vibrations, turning the ground into an enormous resonant chamber that transmits data continuously. These abilities allow snakes to minimize unnecessary exposure. Movement in the Amazon is dangerous. It reveals position. It wastes energy. It increases the chance of detection by predators or prey. Sensory mastery is therefore not only an advantage, but a survival doctrine. When a snake chooses to move, it does so with full certainty that the movement is worth the risk. Energy conservation is a central theme of serpent evolution. In a biome filled with unpredictability, a predator that wastes energy cannot survive. Snakes circumvent this through efficiency. They move only when necessary, strike only when confident, and hide in places where sensory cues provide maximum reward with minimal exposure. The rainforest's complexity makes this strategy essential. Many animals here evolve to avoid detection. Insects mimic bark. Mammals remain motionless when threatened. Birds freeze when a shadow passes overhead. Snakes counter these adaptations not with speed, but with superior information processing. Their senses reveal what is supposed to remain hidden. The Amazon rewards this type of predator because it punishes everything else. A snake that misreads a signal risks being exposed, injured, or starved. A snake that understands the forest's rhythms becomes a ghost moving through an environment designed to conceal it. These sensory systems also play a role in the avoidance of danger. Humans tend to assume that snakes attack impulsively, but their senses make them cautious, not reckless. They detect vibrations of large animals from far away. They smell chemical markers of danger. They read atmospheric changes that signal storms or floods. This allows them to retreat long before conflict becomes inevitable. In truth, snakes survive not because they are aggressive, but because they are perceptive. Their power comes from seeing without seeing, hearing without hearing, and navigating a world where almost nothing is visible yet everything is felt. In the Amazon, dominance does not belong to the loudest creature or the fastest. It belongs to the one that understands the silence between movements. And no animal interprets that silence more completely than the snakes that rule this forest. The Amazon is a living archive of evolutionary experiments, a place where life diversifies not over millennia but constantly, shaped by floods, droughts, predators, prey, and the shifting layers of light filtering through the canopy. Snakes in this biome evolve faster, specialize deeper, and adapt with a creativity that reflects the forest's relentless pressure. One of the most remarkable outcomes of this evolutionary intensity is the abundance of arboreal species. The canopy is not just a roof of leaves, but an entirely separate world suspended above the ground. It contains its own predators, prey, weather, and ecological rules. Snakes that adapt to this environment and develop bright green coloration, elongated bodies, prehensile tails, and muscles capable of stabilizing them on swaying branches. Their movement becomes softer, lighter, more deliberate. In the canopy, a misstep does not mean wasted energy. It means death. The forest rewards those who move with precision. Arboreal snakes also develop binocular vision better suited for depth perception. They need to measure the exact distance between branches before diving for prey. Their heat sensitivity becomes attuned to the warm bodies of birds and arboreal mammals. The canopy is unstable, but snakes evolve to treat instability as opportunity. Below this world of branches lies the contrasting domain of the Varzea, the seasonally flooded forest. Here, water transforms the landscape for months at a time. Species that thrive on terra firma would struggle in the Varzea, but snakes adapted to the constant shifts. Some develop hydrophobic scales that resist saturation. Others evolve behaviors that allow them to climb vertical surfaces to escape rising waters. Many become semi-aquatic during floods, blending the hunting logic of arboreal and aquatic predators. Evolution in the Amazon is not static, it is responsive. Snakes adjust not only their bodies, but their strategies. Some become experts in extreme wading. They choose ambush positions based on microclimates, leaf litter density, or insect movements that signal the presence of prey. Their patience is so refined that they can remain motionless for days, conserving every calorie. The forest rewards those who wait longest. Coloration patterns mirror the forest's shifting light. Some snakes display scales that resemble sunbeams filtered through leaves, creating patterns that break their silhouette even when exposed. Others mimic the texture of moss, bark, or vines. These adaptations are not only camouflage, but survival equations. A snake that is seen is a snake that wastes energy. Evolution pushes them toward invisibility. Even their regeneration reveals evolutionary precision. Many Amazonian species show accelerated healing, allowing them to recover quickly from injuries caused by predators or prey. In a biome filled with sharp branches, thorns, teeth, and claws, rapid recovery is essential. The ability to heal without long periods of vulnerability increases survival rates and strengthens the lineage. The forest also shapes venom composition through evolutionary feedback. Species that prey on amphibians develop toxins that exploit the weaknesses of thin skin or delicate vascular structures. Species that hunt rodents refine venom that disrupts mammalian blood flow. This tailoring process is ongoing. A snake's venom today may differ subtly from its venom a decade from now because the forest never stops selecting. Evolution in the Amazon is not gentle, it is exact. Every adaptation carries a cost and a reward. Snakes that thrive here aren't just products of their lineage, but participants in a constant negotiation with the environment. They change because the forest demands it. They survive because their bodies answer the demands with precision. Patterns of light-shaped behavior and biology throughout the Amazon. As the sun passes through layers of leaves, it creates shifting mosaics of brightness and shadow. Snakes adapt to these patterns by evolving colors and textures that match the forest's visual rhythm. When sunlight filters through the canopy, it creates beams that shimmer across scales, blurring the boundary between snake and environment. This dynamic camouflage is not passive, it is an active evolutionary response to visual predators. The forest floor, coated in decaying leaves, produces its own palette of browns, grays, and muted greens. Many ground-dwelling species develop irregular blotches and stripes that break their outline. Even when they move, the irregular patterns mimic the flow of debris disturbed by insects or falling leaves. For predators looking from above, the snake effectively vanishes. Light is not the only sculptor. The Amazon's geological diversity creates microhabitats that accelerate adaptation. Some snakes evolve in nutrient-poor soils, developing slower metabolisms that allow survival in areas with sparse prey. Others evolve in mineral-rich zones where prey abundance rewards predators capable of rapid strikes and high metabolic output. These differences generate species that appear similar at first glance yet behave completely differently, each fine-tuned to its ecological pocket. The forest predators also influence snake evolution. Raptors with sharp eyesight push snakes toward better camouflage. Mammalian predators with strong olfactory senses push snakes toward chemical strategies that minimize scent trails. Even insects, such as aggressive ant species, force snakes to adapt behaviors that minimize contact with dangerous swarms. Evolution acts on every interaction, no matter how small. Waiting strategies become evolutionary signatures. Some species wait in coils, motionless, reading vibrations through their bodies. Others stretch along branches, letting wind guide their movements so they resemble vines. Some adopt positions that channel the forest's natural patterns, aligning with the grain of bark or the curvature of roots. In each case, the goal is the same: conserve energy, remain unseen, and strike only when success is guaranteed. Extreme waiting is not laziness, it is mathematical efficiency. In the Amazon, wasting energy can be fatal. Prey availability fluctuates, temperatures shift. Floods can erase entire hunting grounds. A snake that spends energy recklessly does not survive long enough to reproduce. This is why many species evolve metabolisms capable of extraordinary energy preservation. They can go weeks or even months between meals. Their bodies prioritize organs differently, diverting energy toward essential functions and slowing digestion when necessary. Even reproductive strategies reflect evolutionary creativity. Some species give birth to live young, ensuring offspring survival in environments where eggs would be vulnerable to flooding or predation. Others produce eggs with thicker shells designed to resist the moisture of the rainforest. Some synchronize reproduction with seasonal cycles, timing births to coincide with peaks in prey abundance. Every adaptation forms a thread in the forest's evolutionary tapestry. The Amazon pushes snakes towards specialization because generalists struggle here. The cost of failure is high, the reward for precision is survival. In a biome where every inch of ground, branch, and waterway is claimed by something, snakes thrive because they become part of the environment's logic. They do not fight the forest, they follow it. Evolution, in the Amazon, is not an event but a constant pulse. Snakes live within that pulse, changing with the forest, shaped by its demands, and carrying its signature in every scale, muscle, and instinct. The Amazon does not end at the river banks or at the edge of the canopy. It extends into the silence between breaths, into the unseen exchanges of energy that move through roots, clouds, and scales. To understand its snakes is to understand a living system that has been refining itself long before humans first set foot on these lands. The rainforest is not simply a collection of species. It is an organism with millions of moving parts, each one shaping the others in an endless cycle of creation and collapse. Snakes are not intruders in this cycle, they are essential functions of it. They regulate populations, redistribute energy, and enforce the rules that keep the ecosystem balanced. Their presence ensures that no species grows unchecked. Their hunting patterns influence the behavior of prey across vast territories. Every strike, every feeding event, every moment of stillness contributes to the rainforest's internal rhythm. When a snake waits in silence, it is participating in a dialogue with the forest. When it coils beneath a root, it becomes part of the architecture of survival. Its choices ripple outward, affecting insects, mammals, birds, and even the growth of plants. The Amazon's design is not chaos, it is coordination, and the snakes within it are instruments through which the system maintains equilibrium. The forest does not reward noise. It does not reward haste. It rewards precision. That is why snakes, creatures that move only when necessary, thrive here. Their strategies reflect the rainforest's own logic. Water flows where gravity permits. Light filters only where leaves allow. Snakes strike only when conditions align. Everything in this biome is measured. Even growth follows strict rules shaped by rainfall and soil quality. Snakes evolved to mirror the environment's disciplined efficiency. They do not dominate through aggression, but through restraint. Their power comes from understanding when to act and when to remain still. In this way, they embody the rainforest's philosophy of survival. To watch an Amazonian snake is to witness biology without excess. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random. Every adaptation is a response to a specific challenge. Every success is a product of patience. The rainforest shaped these animals, but they also shape the rainforest. Remove them, and the balance collapses. Leave them, and the system continues to breathe. As the sun sets over the floodplain and shadows stretch across the river, the snakes prepare for a world that belongs to them. Night amplifies their senses. Darkness gives them advantage. The forest cools slightly, and thermal signatures become easier to read. The chorus of insects, frogs, and nocturnal mammals builds a soundscape that snakes navigate with instinctive mastery. The forest becomes a labyrinth of information, and the snakes, perfectly adapted, become the silent rulers of this nocturnal kingdom. Night in the Amazon is not darkness. It is another layer of life unfolding. The stars rarely pierce the canopy, but the forest below glows with motion. Leaves tremble with insects, branches shift under the weight of nocturnal monkeys. Waterways echo with splashes from hunting caimans. This environment, where visibility fades and sound becomes the dominant sense, is where snakes reveal their full evolutionary brilliance. They do not need to see far, they only need to feel. The air itself becomes a medium of communication. Chemical particles drift in the humidity. Vibrations travel farther across cooling soil. Thermal signatures sharpen as bodies radiate heat into the night. A snake interprets all of this without conscious thought. Its body is an antenna tuned to the forest's frequencies. Every sensory channel works together to produce a perfect map of its surroundings. While most animals fear the dark, snakes thrive in it because darkness levels the playing field. Large predators lose some of their visual advantage. Prey becomes cautious, uncertain. Only snakes retain complete confidence. Their senses are not hindered by night. They are perfected by it. This is why the Amazon's deadliest serpents often begin their activity long after the forest falls quiet. They emerge from burrows, roots, or submerged resting places, radiating patience. Some glide through the underbrush like whispers. Others lie in place, trusting that the forest will bring prey to them. Every movement is calculated. Every pause is strategy. Their bodies remain cool and efficient, conserving energy. Their minds follow evolutionary programming honed through countless generations. In these hours, snakes enforce the rules of the jungle. They remove the weak and careless. They check population surges. They prevent ecological imbalances. Their work is rarely seen, yet it shapes the fate of countless species. The rainforest looks peaceful at night, but that tranquility is maintained by predators who operate without being noticed. Snakes perform this role with unmatched subtlety. They do not roar, stalk loudly, or chase. They act with the precision of an ecosystem that has no room for waste. When they strike, it is not violence, it is function. As dawn approaches, the forest begins to shift once more. Colors return. Birds announce the coming light. The mist thickens, rolling across the ground like a living veil. The nocturnal animals retreat, replaced by diurnal species that begin their routines. Snakes disappear into hollows, branches, or water, merging again with the architecture of the rainforest. Their work continues, but unseen. The forest resets. The cycle prepares to begin again. And at the center of this cycle are the serpents, guardians of balance, sculpted by silence and perfected by environment. They are the rainforest's quiet regulators, essential yet almost invisible. To witness their role, to understanding something profound about nature, that the world is often held together not by the creatures that make the most noise, but by those that leave almost no trace. The Amazon's power lies not only in its abundance, but in its ability to renew itself endlessly. Floods rise, forests drown, trees fall, fires burn, and yet life returns with even greater intensity. This resilience comes from the intricate relationships between species. Snakes stand at the intersection of many of those relationships. They influence prey behavior, predator distribution, disease dynamics, and plant regeneration. Their impact is both direct and subtle. A rodent population controlled by snakes prevents the overconsumption of seeds. The seeds that survive grow into trees. The trees feed insects, birds, and mammals. Those animals, in turn, spread nutrients across the forest, all because a snake removed a single rodent at the right time. Each action ripples outward, weaving into a vast ecological tapestry. Even their predators benefit from their presence. Raptors, jaguars, and large mammals depend on snake populations to stabilize food availability. When snakes thrive, the entire ecosystem becomes more predictable. When they decline, chaos follows. The rainforest's equilibrium is a fragile thing, maintained through millions of small interactions. The snakes do not intend to create balance, but they embody it. Their existence is a form of ecological maintenance. To understand the Amazon without its snakes is impossible. They are part of the forest's logic, its identity, its endurance. As we step back from the flooded waters, the tangled roots, and the shadowed canopy, a final truth emerges. The Amazon does not function as a collection of individuals, but as a single living mind, a system of intelligence distributed across scales, leaves, chemical signals, rivers, storms, and predators. Snakes are one of its purest expressions. They do not compete with the forest, they cooperate with it. Their silence is not emptiness, it is communication. Their patience is not passivity, it is mastery. They are the rainforest's memory and its mechanism. And as long as they remain, the forest will continue to breathe, evolve, and thrive. The final lesson is simple. In a world where everything grows, dies, and grows again, the true rulers are not the loudest or the strongest, but those who understand the rhythm of life deeply enough to disappear into it. The serpents of the Amazon do exactly that. They reign not through fear, but through harmony with an ancient world that shaped them. And in this silent kingdom, their legacy endures coiled within the roots of the greatest forest on earth.